Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Corey, and this channel is going to revolve around the Saab 9.3. I have a 2007 Saab 9.3. It's a 60th anniversary. It's got the 2-liter 4-cylinder in it. And to give you a little bit of a backstory, I got this car in 2020. COVID had hit. Used car prices, new car prices were impossible. There was a chip shortage. It was a hard time to need a vehicle. But luckily, my father-in-law, the original owner of this car, sold this to me. And I've been loving it ever since. Now, I did have to get some original maintenance, so I can go over some of the things that I've done so far. The fuel gauge wouldn't register the fuel level. The float was bad. I think the fuel sending unit was having issues, so I got that replaced. I got some suspension work where I got the struts, tie rod ends. I think I had a rear spring that was broken. I had all this done by a shop. At the time, I was working a lot. And I didn't have the time. I also didn't have this garage cleaned up. It was a disaster. I barely had enough room to kind of like walk with my hands by my side like this through an aisle, but I got it all cleaned up. So now I've got a place to work. But back to what I had to do to this car. After that, I drove it for a while. I had no problems. Everything was great. And then I started randomly, it would just stall out. And I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I checked what I knew to check at the time. And my knowledge on cars is not huge. I don't know a lot. At least I didn't at the time. So I relied heavily upon Google. My father, who is a mechanic, or was a mechanic, he's retired now, picked his brain a little bit and got some ideas of some different things I could look at. And it really all boiled down to the ECU at the end of the day. I was very hesitant because at the time, like I said, I didn't know a lot about car, especially any type of mechanic work. And I didn't want to spend almost $600 on a new ECU for it to be something else. So I did as much research as I could. I read up on the B207R. And I saw people had really good luck working with Saab parts right out of here in the US. So I set aside the money, I saved up, I got a new ECU, plugged it in, got it all installed with the spacer kit, and a lot of my problems went away. And when that happened, I got this huge boost of confidence. I said, you know what? I've fixed little bits here and there over the years. I've done little things here and there. There's no reason I can't take care of this car by myself. The only thing I need is tools and time and a little bit of, knowledge. So I started reading up on where are my common oil leaks? What are the common parts to fail? What are things that I need to look out for? And I started slowly making a checklist and then knocking those things off one by one. So like I said, I got the ECU replaced, and that made a big difference. The next thing on the list was, let's figure out why I was getting these misfires. So to start, the first thing I did was I checked my plugs. They were pretty dirty, pretty nasty, so I bought new plugs. And at the time, I bought the iridium plugs, and that didn't really make much of a difference in the misfire. I was really confused because I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know if I needed to get some coil packs. I didn't have an ODB2 reader. I was really going blind. I'd have to run to AutoZone, get it read. I would get the code at the time, which I don't remember what it was. But I just kept digging. I thought to myself, maybe I just got some parts that need serviced. So I pulled the throttle body and I got that all cleaned up, and it was nasty. It was dirty. Cleaned that up, that seemed pretty good. It made a big difference in the way that it ran. It ran a lot smoother. Next up on the list was I pulled all the sensors that I could get access to, and I cleaned them all up best of my ability, and I replaced it. And if I couldn't, I replaced them. Once that was done, it was running even better. I'd still occasionally have a misfire. So I was still trying to chase that dream of getting past that. So then finally, I went to NGK's website and I ordered the OEM plugs that go to this car. They were on back order, so I was waiting. And then I saw that they had them locally, so I canceled my back order. I got them locally, I put them in, and I was driving with no misfire. I was doing real good. And then it started kind of creeping its way back. So now I was like, it's gotta be the coil. So I let it sit aside. I really didn't worry about it too much because at this point it was very tolerable. I really only noticed it happening when I was on the freeway, and you know, I had enough going on at the time that I just kind of sidelined it. And now I'm on to the next thing, which was I had some oil leaks. So I went online, did some research. Where does it leak the most? Where is it possibly coming from? And I started knocking those off my list. So the first thing I did was I ordered vacuum pump seals, and I put that in. Once I got that installed, my confidence was going up. I was getting really excited. Okay, I fixed the vacuum pump leak. I'm almost a mechanic in my head. You know, I was like pumping myself up. So then I bought the power steering pump seals. And I popped that bad boy off, and I put in the new seals and threw it back together, and wouldn't you know it? I had 2 less leaks to worry about. So I'm on cloud 9, cruising on down the road, having a good time. Start getting a little bit of misfires again. Start digging into that. Pop open the valve or the coil pack cover. Go to check my plugs. Wouldn't you know it? I got oil in the wells. Shoot. Looks like I gotta do valve cover. I was excited. Valve cover. You know what else? I bet you my PCV valve's pretty dirty. So I did that too. So I hit up Saab parts. Got myself the PCV valve kit that came with the intake manifold, gasket, new throttle body gasket, and the PCV valve. Did that first. That went really well. Then I moved on to the valve covers. I can actually show you. I've got some pictures that I'll add to this so you guys can see what I was working on. I watched a few different videos, and I watched a lot of people kind of try to squeeze it out of there, but I pulled everything. All the electrical connectors, I removed the fuel rails. I made sure I had plenty of room so that way when I started working on this thing, I could really get in there. So yeah, I pulled these fuel rails here, pulled the whole wiring harness, all this out of the way, pulled the ECU. Yeah, I had plenty of room. Airbox was out. I was good to go. Put the new valve cover, I cleaned the valve cover. It was very, very dirty. Got it all cleaned up, looking really good. Put the new gasket in. Like I said, I did the PCV valve. And she is just running like a dream. I will say I'm very excited and I'm very proud of myself. I give myself a pat on the back for, you know, taking all this on. And I'll say 2 things. When I got this thing put together, I didn't have any missing bolts, extra bolts, or nuts or washers or nothing. Which I was pretty surprised. I was kind of nervous. I didn't forget anything. I got everything back together. Got everything plugged in. And I learned a ton about this motor. Because it's one thing to just stare at it and go, okay, well this plugs in here and looks like that line goes there. But when you unplug it all and take it all apart and you've got it all over the garage and spread all over the place, and then you put it all back together and it works, man, that's a good feeling. Tell you what. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I really wish I would have filmed the valve cover gasket and the PCV valve. I'll be honest with you, there is a ton of content, and I am very grateful for that. There's a lot of really great people online who have done some really awesome videos to talk about, you know, these cars and the work that they've done on them. And I tell you what, that really saved the day for me, because I've been looking all over for a Haynes manual, and they don't even make them anymore. So that's where I was going to go. Is I was going to, well, Chilton's or Hayes, I can't remember. It was Chilton's when I was a kid, but yeah, they really helped me out. So huge shout outs to them. But I plan on going forward, making sure that I do record myself doing any type of maintenance or fixes or anything like that. At this point in time, I don't have too much coming up. I am going to figure out what coil pack I need to replace. In order to do that, I'm going to get with my buddy who's got a really nice reader who can do live data. And I'm going to see if I can't catch what cylinder's misfiring, so that we can kind of go from there. But from there on out, it's going to be all restoration. So let me bring you in a little bit closer down here to the motor. Let me get some more light so y'all can see. So I got everything pretty clean. When I was in here, I took off this bracket here, and I got that all cleaned up. I've got my new ECU. Actually, this is coming up. I'm going to replace this because I've heard bad things about this one, so I'm going to get a metal one. I cleaned up the valve cover. It's not perfect, but it is definitely in a lot better shape. Kind of touched on a little bit of everything. You can see my vacuum pump, power steering pump. Cleaned that up when I pulled those, so those are looking nice. Cleaned up all the plastics. I have all the covers, which is cool because I see a lot of cars. I don't know what they did with their covers, but yeah, she's looking good, nice and clean. I think I got to add a little bit of coolant. But yeah, here's a quick glimpse of my garage. So all this stuff over here is just, we need a yard sale, right? But the whole garage used to look like this wall when you walked in. There was no room to go anywhere. I got it all cleaned up, consolidated, got rid of tons of garbage, all kinds of stuff, made myself some room, threw down some carpet tiles so I had something nice to walk on. And now I've got all kinds of room to work. So I did all my maintenance in here, which has been really nice. Got all my tools together because, man, were they strewn all over the place. And I just started slowly getting together something so I can start working on cars. So I've got my little US General box with my sockets in it that I use most frequently. I've got my go bag that I keep in the car in case I have a problem. I did pick up this little cheapo reader from Harbor Freight, which has been great because now I can just run this, get the code that I need, and move on. I do a lot of electronic stuff. I build simulators and everything, so this is not anything to do with this car, but this is just my little bin that I keep all of my little accessories, Arduinos and switches and stuff for button boxes for American Truck Simulator, or doing something for Assetto Corsa, or whatever I'm doing. Which recently, actually, I do need to mention this. They have a 2008 Saab 9.3 X that is available on Assetto Corsa. So sometimes I like to, do some virtual Saab driving along with the real driving. And I will say it's pretty cool. It's very, very fun. Yeah, let's take a look at the interior while I got you here. It's pretty clean, It was taken really good care of. I do want to get this front floor mat. I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. But yeah. I love this car. It has been very good to me. And like I said, I'm taking a lot of time learning as much as I can about it. I'm going to be working on some body work here pretty soon. You can see I got a little bit of rust showing up. I got a spot there. I've got a spot on the other side. Let's find it. Got a couple little dents to take care of. Yep, some more bubbling down there. So I'm going to get that all squared away. So I got those two spots. Down here is good. Yeah. I do need to get this windshield piece here. One day I was driving on the road and it just flew off and I didn't even realize what it was. I thought I'd hit something. So I'm kind of kicking myself because it's like a $60 part that I wish I would have just paid more attention to. Also, when I got the car, it was missing this little grill on the passenger side. So I threw this in just to kind of keep shit from flying in there. This is just gutter guard that I've zip tied. So I have a small zip tie there. And then I drilled a little hole up in the corner to mount it up there so that that way, like I said, I can just keep stuff from flying in there. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. Hope everybody stays tuned. Go ahead and like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I hope to have many, many videos revolving around anything that can be done to these cars. So yeah, once again, shout outs to the community. I appreciate everything you guys did by posting and keeping all this information online. If it wasn't for you, it would be a little bit more difficult for me for sure. And huge shout outs to esaabparts.com. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys. It was really awesome being able to get the parts quick and easy and get my car back on the road. But that's going to be all for me today. I hope everybody enjoyed. Have a good one. And as always, safe driving.